Hi students, how are you? Hope you are all fine. In this chapter, we are going to see chapter 8. How do organisms reproduce? That is reproduction. And students, I hope you are all doing your self-test sincerely and honestly. And parents, I kindly request you to sit with your children when they are studying and also when they are performing self-test. And students, I already told you for chapter 6 life processes, you want to finish self-test, that is test number 1, and chapter 7 control and coordination also you want to finish self-test, that is test 2, and for this chapter also you want to complete self-test. This is test number 3. These 3 tests you want to write in biology test note, and when you are coming to school you want to bring, and I will correct it. And before that you tell your parents, sister or brother to correct, and finally I will correct it. And this compulsorily these 3 tests you want to come and bring. Please parents, help your ward in completing the self-test. Why I am giving self-test? No, this 3 chapters I already finished, completely finished in the class, and also I gave simplified notes and also direct question answer. That question answer only I am telling you to write as a self-test. This 3 videos, chapter 6, 7 and this chapter 8, somewhat a recapitulation only I am giving. So I am recapitulating all the points what I taught in the class. Now we will go deep into the chapter how do organisms reproduce. Reproduction. What is reproduction? The process of producing young ones are called reproduction. Students, there are 2 types of reproduction. One is asexual reproduction, another one is sexual reproduction. First one we are going to see asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction is producing young one without the fusion of male and female gametes. Under this, we are going to see many methods. There are many modes of asexual reproduction. They are fission, fragmentation, regeneration, budding, vegetative propagation and spore formation. Fission. Fission is nothing but division of a parent cell into 1 or 2 or more. There are 2 types of fission, that is binary fission, another one is multiple fission. Binary fission, bi means 2. One cell divide into 2. Multiple fission is, multiple means many. One parent cell divide into many, that is fission. Second one is fragmentation. Fragmentation, the parent cell is made up of many fragments and segments. When maturation, each fragments have ability to give rise to young ones. Next one is regeneration. In regeneration, a parental structure produce outgrowth, and it have ability to regenerate when it is damaged or detached. Budding is a parental organ produce an bud-like outgrowth, and when these outgrowth or bud detach, each bud have ability to grow into new young one. Next mode is vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation takes place in plants. Vegetative propagation means propagation of vegetative parts. What are vegetative parts? The parts other than flower. Flower is a reproductive part of a plant. Other parts are called vegetative parts. Example, stem, root, leaves and all have ability to grow into new young ones. Last one is spore formation. This happens in fungi, rhizobus. It develops a fine thread-like structure in which spores are formed. These spores on maturation burst and fly freely in the atmosphere, and when it finds its suitable substratum, it will grow into new one. The students, you have noticed that in all these modes or methods, no fusion of male and female takes place. So this is called asexual reproduction. And second method is sexual reproduction. In sexual reproduction, fusion of male and female gamete takes place. In this, under this sexual reproduction, we are going to see reproduction in plants and reproduction in animals. First one is reproduction in plants. There are two reproductive part. One is male reproductive part and female reproductive part. See, this is the female reproductive part of a plant. The female reproductive part of the plant is called pistil. This is also called carpel. This pistil have three parts. One is stigma, style, ovary. Stigma is a sticky part which is on the topmost. This style is a tube-like structure which connects stigma and ovary. Ovary is at the bottom of a flower which consists of ovule which protects the female gamete called egg or ovum. So this is the structure of female reproductive part. This is called pistil or carpel. And male reproductive part of a flower is called stamen. This is the structure of stamen. This stamen have two parts. One is anther, another one is filament. Anther is a bag-like structure which consists of male gametes called pollen grains. So these grains, pollen, round-like structure, spherical bodies are called pollen grains, and this is called filament which holds the bag-like structure. This bag-like structure is called anther and this tube-like structure is called filament. So these are the reproductive parts of a flower. This is female reproductive part, that is pistil or carpel, and this is the male reproductive part of a flower called stamen. Now this is the male gamete and this is the female gamete. Male gamete are called pollen grains, and this pollen grains contains male gametes, and this is the female gamete, that is egg. And this want to fuse with the egg. Male gamete want to fuse with the female gamete. This takes place through the process called pollination. What is pollination? Pollination is nothing but transfer of pollen, that is this one. Transfer of pollen from anther to stigma is called pollination. What is pollination? The process of transfer of pollen from anther to stigma of a pistil is called pollination. Simply see here, this is a bag-like structure called anther, consists of pollen grains. This on maturation, this bag-like structure anther bursts and releases pollen grains. These pollen grains floats freely in the air. Simply it cannot walk and go and fix with the fuses with the female reproductive gamete. It needs some medium. It needs some medium for the transfer. That are called pollinating agents. What are pollinating agents? The agents which helps in carrying pollen grains to the stigma is called pollinating agents. Pollinating agents are air, water, we the human beings. Animals are also comes under pollinating agents. Through pollinating agents, this pollen grains stick on the stigma of a flower, stigma of a pistil. I told this stigma is sticky in nature. When this pollen grain is crossing over, it comes and stick on the stigma of a pistil. Now we are going to see how germination and fertilization takes place in the stigma. I told through pollination and pollinating agents, the pollen grains come and stick on the stigma. So this is called germination. By this germination starts. After sticking on the stigma, this pollen grains develop a tube called, so this is the pollen grain. After sticking on the stigma, this pollen grain develops a tube called pollen tube. So this develops a tube called pollen tube. See here, pollen tubes. This is the pollen grain. It sticks on the stigma. After sticking, it develops a tube called pollen tube. Why no? This pollen grain gamete is on the top, egg is at the bottom. Simply it can't move inside and fuse. It needs something to help for the transfer. So that is by pollen tube. Now this pollen tube extends through the egg or ovum, that is in the ovary, through the tube called style. This is the style of the ovary. Now pollen tubes extends and it reaches the ovary of the pistil. And this is called chemotrophic movement. Chemotrophic movement means in previous video, control and coordination, I explained about chemotrophic movement. That is movement of pollen tube towards the ovary, I told. This is by the chemical signal. Chemotrophic. Chemo means chemicals. By the chemical signal, this pollen tube grows towards the ovary and it reaches the ovary, and male gamete moves in the tube and it goes and fuses with the ovum which is in the ovary. This up to this is called germination, and fusion of male gamete with the female gamete is called fertilization. What is fertilization? It is a process of fusion of male gamete with the female gamete is called fertilization. After fertilization, what happens? Three things happen. One is this fertilized ovary is transformed into fruit. This ovule transforms into seed, and other parts and all, it will wither away. It will wither away. Petals, sepals, all other parts wither away, and this is transformed into a fruit. This is what fertilization of reproduction in plants. Next, coming to reproduction in human beings. Male reproductive system and female reproductive system. Male reproductive system consists of testis, scrotum, vas deferens, urethra, prostate gland and seminal vesicle, penis and sperms. Testis, first one, testis. Testis is a oval shaped structure which contains sperms. And scrotum. Scrotum is a bag-like structure where testes are present, and this scrotum is present outside the abdominal cavity of a male body, because scrotum contains testes, testis contains sperms. Sperms is a living cell which need lower temperature than the normal temperature of the male body. So it will not survive the normal temperature of the male. So it is out of the abdominal cavity of male. And vas deferens, it is the tube-like structure which helps in the release of sperms from the testis. And sperms. Before sperms, we will see prostate and seminal vesicles. These both are called associate glands. These plays an important role in providing nourishment to the sperm, and it helps in easy transport of the sperm during fertilization. And sperm, it is a cell which have head and tail. Head is oval in shape, tail, and it have tail helps in movement, locomotion. And next one is female reproductive system. Female reproductive system consists of ovary, fallopian tube, uterus, cervix, vagina and placenta. See here, this is female reproductive system. this is ovary. First one is ovary. Ovary is pair. There are two pair. There are a pair of ovaries, two ovaries, which is oval shape, which contains ovum. And at the birth itself, unmatured eggs are produced in female, and during puberty, it matures and it comes out of the ovary. Next one is fallopian tube. Fallopian tube is also called, this is called fallopian tube. It is also called oviduct. This helps in transfer of egg or ovum from ovary to the uterus. This fallopian tube, here fertilization, in fallopian tube only fertilization takes place. Next is uterus. Uterus is a bag-like structure which helps in giving nourishment to the developing embryo. This is a bag-like structure which helps in carrying a fetus, that is baby, growing baby. Next one is, now we are going to see about fate of egg. Fate of egg. What happens? There are two pathways of ovum, human female ovum or egg. That is, if fertilization, what is fertilization? Fusion of male and female gamete. If fertilization does not take place, if fertilization takes place. See, if first case we will see, if fertilization does not take place. Once the ovary releases ovum, that is egg, this uterus will prepare itself by thickening its lining with blood vessels to receive the fertilized egg and helps in providing nourishment to the developing fetus. Once it is released, this preparation is made by uterus. And if fertilization does not take place, the egg comes out of the ovary, travel through the fallopian tube, and it get burst because no fusion takes place, no fertilization takes place. It get burst and it want to release out. So it is released, and no need of this cushion like thing preparation by the uterus, and this cushion like thick blood muscles also breaks out and it is released out. The ovary along with the uterine wall blood muscles are released out through the process called menstruation, and this process is called menstruation. This is for one case. Next case is, if fertilization takes place, what happens? I told once the egg releases from the ovary, this preparation, cushion like preparation is done by the uterus to receive the fetus, to give nourishment and to protect the baby. And this ovary comes here, and when it meets the sperm, fertilization takes place in the fallopian tube, and this product is called, now this product is called zygote. Zygote is a fusion product of male gamete, that is sperm, and female gamete, that is called ovum. Now the zygote moves through the uterus and it gets embedded in the uterine wall. This is called implantation. Implantation. What is implantation? The process of embedding zygote in the uterine wall is called, intrauterine wall is called implantation. Then the baby grows, and there is important one is called placenta. Placenta is a disc-shaped structure which is present between fetus. Fetus is nothing but growing baby. When it comes out of the mother's womb, baby, inside when it is developing, it is called fetus. The placenta is a disc-like structure which is present between fetus and the uterine wall. This have two functions. One is it provides nutrients, or it provides nourishment and oxygen to the fetus from the mother's milk. Mother's blood. Second one is it collects all the waste that is produced by the fetus, that is like urea and carbon dioxide also, it is waste, and it is collected from the fetus and it is leave to the mother's blood, and mother's blood purify the blood. So this is what happens to the egg if it is fertilized or if it is not fertilized. Next is last topic in this chapter is reproductive health. Reproductive health plays an important role in controlling the population, and it helps in improving the reproductive life, and also it helps in leading peaceful life by having a limited number of children in the family. And contraceptive methods plays an important role in reproductive health. What is contraception? Contraception is nothing but method of preventing unwanted pregnancy. What is contraception? It is a method of preventing unwanted pregnancies. There are many methods of contraception. They are physical barrier, chemical methods, intrauterine using intrauterine contraceptive devices, surgical methods, and natural methods. By these methods, reproductive health can be maintained. And students, for this chapter also, this chapter is over, and these 3 chapters I have finished in the class, and just recapitulation I'm giving, and through this video you just recall what I taught in the class. And for this chapter also you want to write self-test, and already I gave simplified notes for those 3 chapters and those 2 chapters, and this chapter also you go through that and study all the question answer in this chapter, and you want to write self-test for this chapter also. This is test number 3. So when you're coming, you want to please come and you want to submit the test, and in next video I'll be teaching new chapter, that is heredity and evolution. For that I'll be giving some other activities. Please study sincerely and write your test honestly, and please parents take care of them and be with them when they are studying and writing self-test, and help them to write their self-test properly. Thank you.